Welcome to Community Conversations. Community Conversations is a brand new production of Frederick County Government TV. On Community Conversations, we're going to talk each week about a community issue, introduce you to an active member in our community, or an elected leader, or maybe a division director. Community Conversations is all about keeping you, the residents of Frederick County, involved and up to date with what's happening in county government. We're open to your suggestions and your ideas for this program. On today's show, I'm pleased to welcome Frederick County Council Vice President, MC KeeganAyer. Welcome, MC.
Hi, Jan. Thanks for having me.
So, for our viewing audience, they might be interested in knowing how long you and I have known each other. MC and I have probably known each other for 20 years, and we both came into county government really on a similar path. We both had an interest in education issues. We were both active in our children's PTAs, and it really skyrocketed or grew into active involvement in county government. And certainly as a former county commissioners, I would always take your input very seriously.
Yes.
Because you were known for doing your homework and coming in with good ideas and good proposals.
So.
Well, now that you're a county councilwoman, maybe you can share with our viewers a little bit about yourself.
Well, I moved to Frederick County almost 30 years ago. When I moved here, I did not have children, but I got involved as my children came along and they entered school. And I got involved in the school issues, education issues, got involved in my neighborhood with some development issues around us, and continued to follow county government as it impacted my neighborhood, my children, their schools, education. And for 20 years, that is what I have done, and that's what I've been doing. Before I moved to this county, I worked on Capitol Hill and had grown up in D.C. So I'm kind of a transplant, but 30 years, although I don't have any relatives buried in Mount Olivet yet, so I guess I'm not really a Frederick Countyan.
So, well, I know you made a difference as a citizen and a parent speaking on education issues and other issues. Certainly land use development was one of the topics you've talked about over the years. So it seems like a comfortable transition for you to come into this role as a county council member. You certainly know a lot about county government since you've been paying attention for 20 years or more. So can you tell us how you find the experience so far?
The experience you would think would have been just a very smooth transition. It's a little different when you're on the dais side as opposed to the podium side giving public testimony, but it's been fun. It's been great fun. I work with a lot of great people on council. They are very dedicated. They are very driven. They have passion for whatever their issues are, and we're finding it interesting working together and learning each other's strengths and weaknesses and how to make a smooth transition to our county council form of government.
Yeah. It is very new, and certainly the public is joining us and trying to follow how we're making this transition. And I tell everybody it's a work in progress.
It is.
Because we're going to have to adjust and tweak as we need to make sure that we have good government and that we can engage the public in our decisions.
Absolutely.
So what are your goals and priorities? What are some of the things you want to accomplish, let's say, maybe in the first 6 months?
Well, one of the things that a platform that I ran on, and one of the things that I really want to do is to bring a voice to the western side of Frederick City. It's a side of the city, the Golden Mile area. It's a side of the city that has been really lost as it continued to grow, and it's has some development issues. Commerce is not doing as well as it could. It has areas of crime, and it just has gotten a bad rap. And so I am trying to bring more focus onto the issues of that area and see what can be done to help revitalize and redevelop that side of town. At the same time, education continues to be a passion of mine, and I just fundamentally believe that our public school system is the one thing that we can count on to level the playing field for all of our children as they grow and become responsible adults. And so I will continue to advocate on behalf of our schools and our teachers and our support staff and basically educating our children to the best that we can possibly do for them. And finally, one of the things, I know it's more of a process thing, but I really want to engage the public more in our whole county council form of government. I want them to feel that they are part of our decision-making process. I want them to feel that they can come and address us in our council meetings, in our workshops, that they can come and meet with any of us at, in our office. I want them to feel engaged in this process as we move forward to our new form of government. And that's pretty much it. That's a full plate right now.
Well, that is a full plate. And, I really appreciate your focus on community engagement and public participation. As people who initially got involved as citizens speaking on certain issues, I really felt that that was time well spent. For the most part,
yes.
over the years, and that I was able to make a difference as a citizen. And I really think it's important to let people know that they can come in, participate, be heard, maybe not always get perfect agreement, but that they can make a difference. Now, I know one of our most overcrowded schools is Hillcrest Elementary School. And we do have a new school in our capital improvement program to help alleviate that overcrowding. But you were very involved in bringing that school into the attention of our Board of Education, our county commissioners, and getting parents involved. Because can you kind of talk about how you really worked to increase that public participation on that particular issue?
When I was just a parent, before I was an elected official, I worked on PTA council for Frederick County, and one of the things that was my job was to go out and teach the public how to advocate on behalf of their schools. So that was what I did. I went out in the community, taught them the process, helped them formulate their ideas into a message, and then helped them learn the ways to bring that message forward in a way that would be productive. And so I just put that into place at Hillcrest. I first started bringing it to the Board of Ed's attention on my own, as a way to demonstrate to them how they could do this. And then I worked with that school community and worked with that PTA to help them find their voice and to help them find their way through the process. And now they have been very effective. They have learned well. Let's put it that way.
They learned from the best. So, but they really did very effective public advocacy for their school.
They did.
Very passionate, and you could feel the passion from the people who came to the microphone to speak.
And really engaged the entire community in their message. Yes.
So I think our task is to keep them involved and keep them engaged.
Absolutely.
So now you also play an important role on the county council as the vice chair, the vice president of the council. And one of the things I'm trying to do as county executive is to have good communication with the council. So can you kind of give us your perspective on how that's going and how any ideas you have for improving just the process of the council in this new form of government?
Well, you and the president, Bud Otis, and I meet on a regular basis. We meet weekly and have conversations about priorities that you're working on, priorities that the council is working on. Right now, we as a council are still finding our way. And we're finding out how we best work as a unit. There are 7 of us now, and that getting 7 people to all work in unison is a bit of a work, but we're making an effort. And so Bud and I meet regularly with the other members of council, and we try and give a voice to things that they want to work on. And so I would say probably this is just going to be a definite work in progress as we move through. Meeting with you weekly is helping. I think Bud and I have to do a better job of bringing that message back to our council members. And I think that job may fall on me since Bud is busy with president duties. So.
Okay. Well, I think the communication is important, and I think when you speak to the fact that there's 7 members, that is a little bit a different dynamic.
It's a bit daunting sometimes.
So we're going to probably see a mix of votes and a mix of opinion on policy issues. And I think that's fine. I mean, I think we have good government when we have different viewpoints coming to the discussion on policy issues. But I think it is important that the group learns how to function as a group. And I think that's really what you're speaking about when you talk about bringing 7 people together.
Right. No, we are learning each other's strengths and weaknesses. And, on a team, when you're playing a team sport, when you're on the field and some people are weak in one area, the other members of the team learn to step up their game to help cover that so that it's very smooth and the game progresses in a worthwhile way. So I think that's kind of what council's doing, is we're trying to learn the strengths and weaknesses of each of us and then learn to cover and fill in where other people are not quite as strong.
Okay, can you tell our viewers the basic process, the times for the meetings, and maybe a little bit about how they can connect with you and the other council members?
We meet legislatively. We meet every first and third Tuesday of the month to do legislative sessions. We will have work sessions and other meetings periodically. You can always go to the county website, go to the section for county council and check on meetings and agendas, and that will have our meeting schedule, our agendas. The agendas will have background information linked to them, and so you can find that. Our meetings right now are starting at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. However, Councilmember Fitzwater suggested that we might want to move our meetings to 4:30, which would allow more of the public a chance to come and have input in our meetings, and I think that is probably something that the majority of the council, if not all the council, will agree to.
Okay. So when will that be decided? At your next meeting?
I am hoping at our next meeting that will be decided, because that will be hopefully when we finally pass a framework for our rules and operations, how we're going to operate as a council.
One of the biggest things that we have to collectively accomplish over the next few months is the adoption of the budget.
That's correct.
And I have reached out to schedule appointments with each of the council members,
Yes,
so that we can talk about what their budget priorities might be and what they may or may not want to see in the budget.
Correct.
So I think that is going to be, there's a very tight time frame for
Very
the
tight.
council to
Very
adopt the
tight.
budget. And so I think that will really require a lot of good coordination and cooperation between us.
I think it's going to require a lot of cooperation. I think it's going to require excellent communication so that purposes and priorities are not misunderstood. And I think that a lot of pressure will fall upon Bud and I to be able to smooth that road.
I want to thank you, MC, for joining me today for this first edition of Community Conversations. We appreciate you spending the time so that our viewers can get to know you a little bit better.
Thanks for having me.
And I want to thank you, the viewers, for watching Community Conversation. This show is about you. I look forward to your suggestions and ideas for future editions of Community Conversations. You can send your suggestions through our website directly to me so that we can make sure that you are updated on the issues that are important to you. Open and transparent government is really key to my administration and to making sure we have good government in Frederick County. Thank you.